Millionaire marries a poor, fat woman as a bet. But he's shocked by what happens next. Marcus Chen stood at the altar in his $1,000 suit, looking down at the woman beside him with barely concealed disgust. Her name was Sarah Martinez, a grocery store cashier who wore a dress 2 sizes too small because it was the only one she owned. His friends watched from the pews, smirking behind their champagne glasses. They'd bet him $50,000 he couldn't go through with marrying someone like her. Someone poor, someone fat, someone completely beneath his world of penthouses and private jets. He planned to collect his winnings, file for divorce in 6 months, and forget this whole humiliating chapter of his life. But Marcus had no idea that this cruel joke was about to become the most profound lesson he'd ever learned. As the officiant pronounced them husband and wife, Marcus caught a glimpse of something unexpected in Sarah's eyes. Not desperation or gratitude like he'd expected, just quiet dignity and a hint of sadness, as if she knew exactly what this was but had her own reasons for saying yes. Before we continue with this incredible story, I want to invite you to join our Heartfelt Moments family. Please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss these inspiring stories that remind us what truly matters in life. Drop a like if you believe in the power of second chances, and comment below about a time when someone's kindness changed your perspective. Your support means the world to us. Now let's get back to Marcus and Sarah's unbelievable journey. The first week of their arrangement was exactly what Marcus expected. He gave Sarah a credit card with a modest limit, showed her to the guest bedroom in his downtown loft, and made it clear she was to stay out of his way. He went to work, attended his social events alone, and barely spoke to her beyond basic pleasantries. Sarah didn't complain. She simply thanked him, explored the city during the day, and was always asleep by the time he came home late at night. But on day 8, everything changed. Marcus came home with a splitting migraine after a disastrous business meeting that had cost him a major deal. He'd lost nearly $2 million because of his own arrogance, refusing to listen to his team's advice. He collapsed on the couch, angry at the world and especially angry that this stranger was in his home witnessing his failure. Sarah appeared from the kitchen carrying a steaming mug. "I made you ginger tea with honey," she said softly. "My abuela always said it helps with headaches and bad days." Marcus wanted to snap at her to tell her he didn't need her pity, but something in her gentle voice stopped him. He took the tea. It was perfect. Over the following weeks, Marcus began noticing things he'd been too prejudiced to see before. Sarah woke up at 5 every morning, not to bother him, but to walk to the nearby park where she volunteered feeding homeless people before they started their day. She used his grocery allowance to buy extra food, which she donated to a shelter. When his housekeeper mentioned her daughter was sick, Sarah spent an entire afternoon at the hospital with him, even though she'd only met the woman twice. She asked for nothing. She simply gave. One evening, Marcus found Sarah sitting at the kitchen table with his mail, which she'd organized by importance. "I hope you don't mind," she said. "I noticed you were stressed about bills, so I created a simple system. And I called about that disputed charge on your credit card. They're refunding you $3,000. Marcus stared at her. He spent money carelessly, never tracking anything, assuming his wealth was infinite. This woman who had nothing was teaching him about financial responsibility. "Why are you doing all this?" he finally asked. "You know what this marriage is. You know we're not really." Sarah met his eyes with that same calm dignity from their wedding day. "I know exactly what this is, Marcus. You needed someone to humiliate, and I needed health insurance for my mother's cancer treatment. We both got what we needed from this arrangement. But that doesn't mean we have to be cruel to each other. Kindness costs nothing." Her words hit him like a physical blow. He'd never even asked why she'd agreed to marry him. He'd been so consumed by his own cruel game that he'd never considered she might be fighting her own battles. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. He thought about the man he'd become. Someone who'd bet on humiliating another human being for entertainment. Someone who measured worth by bank accounts and dress sizes. someone who'd completely lost sight of what actually mattered. The next morning, he canceled the bet with his friends and told them the truth about what he'd done. Some laughed, some were disgusted. He didn't care anymore. Then he did something he should have done months ago. He actually talked to Sarah. He learned about her mother's illness, her dreams of becoming a teacher, her volunteer work, and the countless small ways she made the world better despite having so little. Over the next few months, Marcus and Sarah became genuine friends. He helped pay for her mother's treatment without being asked. She helped him reconnect with his estranged sister. He started volunteering at the shelter with her. She encouraged him to repair his broken business relationships with humility instead of arrogance. Slowly, Marcus realized something terrifying and wonderful. He was falling in love with his own wife. On their 6-month anniversary, the day he'd planned to file for divorce, Marcus instead took Sarah to dinner. "I need to tell you something," he said, his voice shaking. "I married you as a bet. To humiliate you. I was cruel and shallow, and I'm so sorry. I'll understand if you want to leave, but I'm hoping you'll give me a chance to be the husband you deserve. Not because of any arrangement, but because you've shown me what it means to be truly wealthy, rich in kindness, in compassion, in love." Sarah was quiet for a long moment. Then she smiled, tears streaming down her face. "I know about the bet, Marcus. I overheard your friends at the wedding, but I also saw you change. I saw you become the man you were always capable of being. That's worth more than any apology." Their story didn't end with a fairy tale transformation. Sarah didn't suddenly become thin, and Marcus didn't become perfect, but they built a real marriage based on mutual respect, genuine affection, and the revolutionary act of seeing each other's humanity. They adopted 2 children who needed homes. They started a foundation helping families afford medical care. And every single day they practiced the simple truth Sarah had known all along. Kindness costs nothing, but it's worth everything. Remember, you never know whose life you might change with a single act of compassion. Subscribe to Heartfelt Moments for more stories that restore your faith in humanity. And go spread some kindness today.